Michael Myers was introduced to Dead by Daylight on the 25th of October 2016 as part of the Halloween DLC, and it was easily top 5 most important updates in the history of the game, because A, it was the first ever licensed chapter, which started the trend of mass importing characters from popular horror and sci-fi franchises, and B, it pioneered several features which later became standard for all new killers, like for example custom menu themes, or in the case with Myers, a jingle, custom terror radius and chase music, and most importantly, the power gauge mechanic. Since I picked up DBD only in the spring of 2017, I didn't get to experience the original Myers. So until I started working on this video, I had a pretty vague understanding of what it used to be like at the release. My guess was that it was dog because let's face it, that's what most of the early killers were at the release, at least from the perspective of a modern player. However, after a thorough investigation, and by that I mean skimming through Myers' changelog on DBD Wiki, I found a couple of things that made me slightly change my opinion. To begin with, the release Myers could stalk multiple survivors at the same time, which used to massively increase the speed at which he was gaining Evil Within. It's hard to give you any exact numbers here, because the stalking efficiency varies depending on how far away from the survivor you're standing, but just to give you a general idea, here is how fast you could get from tier 1 all the way to tier 3 if there were 2 survivors within about 5 meters away from you. Alright, go.
1, 2, 3.
Oh! That was literally 2 seconds. Oh my god! What? Bro, I didn't have time to click stop. It was like 5 seconds. Just to compare, with only 1 survivor, it would take you 5 seconds just to get to tier 2. And mind you, that's the default Myers we're talking about here. Now imagine how fast it was if you brought one of the 2 add-ons which increased the stalking rate, or better yet, both of them. I really wish that I could demonstrate it to you like I always do, but unfortunately, custom games in early versions of DBD only allow you to use the add-ons and offerings that you actually bought on the Blood Web. And since I got nothing on Myers and I couldn't find a pre-made save file which would be compatible with version 1.2.1, I'm pretty much stuck with just the base kit Myers. So you're gonna have to take my word for it. It was fast, like crazy fast. Something like 2 or 3 seconds to get to tier 3. And that's why this build was known as Insta-Myers, similarly to the Hillbilly's Insta-Chainsaw. Next, even though original Evil Within 1 didn't grant Myers the undetectable status effect, cause back then this mechanic didn't exist yet, he was still immune to all the aura reading perks, which was very smart of the devs, considering that along with him, the Halloween chapter also introduced Laurie Strode with her infamous Object of Obsession, which in its original form was basically a legal wall hack, because it revealed the killer's aura to the survivor and vice versa practically map-wide as long as the survivor was looking in the killer's direction while being outside of their terror radius. Object of Obsession doesn't light up. Like, I cannot see you when you're in tier 1, I guess. Like, what the hell? Can you tier up? Come on. Yeah, there you go. Now can I see you? Oh, I can see you now. Bro, what is...
I too.
But, like, the thing is that you're not even undetectable in this version. The problem was that until the introduction of undetectable, Myers was basically the only killer with aura immunity, so indirectly, Object of Obsession still gave him away, because if a survivor had this perk and they didn't see anyone after like 5 or 10 seconds into the match, they instantly knew that it was him, because everyone else would already reveal their aura by that time. On top of it, tier 1 Myers was also completely immune to all the non-aura based detection perks. To this day, there are only 2 of them in the game, Premonition and Spine Chill, but it was still pretty huge for Myers, because at that time survivors didn't have too many perks to choose from, so both Premonition and Spine Chill were pretty common in pubs, not even to mention how good Spine Chill was before the nerf. Sadly, this is where the good part ends, because almost everything else that I managed to find about the old Myers was either underwhelming or straight up broken. For example, he had a shorter max stalking range. It wasn't like crazy short, and I guess that's why it wasn't mentioned in his changelog, but trust me, if you've ever played Myers on the live servers, the difference with the release version would be more than obvious for you. Well, I'm assuming this is gonna be the max distance. Am I right? No? Closer? Yeah. Yeah, like this. Oh my god, please. Yeah, this is the max distance. And in the new version, it would be... Well, I guess where I stood initially. Something like this, maybe. maybe even like a little bit farther. Moreover, if you ended up on one of the 5 farm maps, you could forget about stalking survivors at all. The thing is that there's corn on these maps, and corn, even in the live version, has the logic of a solid wall, and if it gets in the way, it completely shields survivors from your ability, making it impossible for you to tear up off of them. And since on the old farm maps the corn density was like 3 million times higher, it sometimes didn't even allow you to stalk survivors that were standing just several meters away from you. 1 row, 2 rows, so there's like 2 rows of corn, right? Bro, I cannot stalk you through 2 rows of corn. 1 row. Bro, what do you mean? Oh, now I can, okay, so, oh my god. The worst thing about it was that by the time Myers was released, the game had only 16 maps, including Lampkin Lane, which came out with his chapter, and the farm maps made up roughly 1/3 of this number. So yeah, it doesn't take too much brain power to estimate the chances of getting one of them as the original Myers. Another undocumented thing that I found was Myers stalking audio cue, and I think you should see it for yourself. Alright, go.
Tell me when you get the stop. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
I thought you were gonna do 3, 2, and 1. Sorry. That's why I go 1, 2, and
It's stock. It's not falling back though.
What the? Wait. I'm sorry, bro. We need to. What is this music? What? Can you stop stalking, please?
I already did.
And the music is going away. Oh my god, what the f- I didn't know that. Okay, can you go again? Okay, now that's tier 3. That's right, when you were stalking survivors from far away and you were like 5 seconds from getting into tier 2, the survivors started hearing a spooky ambient sound which immediately let them know that they were being watched and that it was time to run. This thing was clearly inspired by the original Halloween movie, where similar music often played when Myers appeared on the screen.
Look.
Look where?
Behind the bush.
And while I appreciate that the devs tried to stay true to the source material with this one, it was a horrible idea, because it basically made it so that it didn't matter how well you were hiding from the survivors, because the game literally told them when you were using your ability on them. On top of it, while in tier 1, Myers used to have a slightly slower movement speed, and not only while walking around the map and chasing survivors, in this case it was 4.14 meters per second, but also while carrying them. Not that it mattered too much, because normally you don't stay in tier 1 for too long anyway, but if for example you wanted to do the scratched mirror Myers, trust me, you would start crying and calling for mama after just 1 game. But not everything about the release Myers was so different. For example, his add-ons have mostly remained the same throughout these years. So much so that after comparing their old and new versions back to back, I literally only managed to find 3 differences. First is that Memorial Flower used to be yellow instead of gray, which means that at the release Myers had 3 gray add-ons instead of 4 and 6 yellow ones instead of 5. Second, Judith's Tombstone used to come with the 9% speed penalty for all tiers and not just tier 3, which honestly I can't even complain about, because f***ing Stamori Myers, seriously. And third, the description of all the add-ons which increased the amount of evil within required to reach tier 3 didn't specify that it was only for the first time and not for every subsequent tier up. And that was kinda funny, because for a long time until the devs fixed it, it made a lot of people think that these add-ons were worse than they actually were. After Myers was released, people had only about 3 weeks to have fun with him in his original form, after which behavior started fine-tuning him. And you'll never guess what they started with. The Vanity Mirror nerf. Because apparently being permalocked in tier 2 was not enough of a punishment for the 16-meter wide wall hack while stalking. So on top of it, in patch 1.2.1d, the devs also introduced the 7% speed debuff for this add-on, making it as painful to run as Scratched Mirror. This gave birth to the so-called Burger King Myers, a meme build consisting of Vanity Mirror and Judith's Tombstone, which resulted in the 16% speed penalty, making it pretty much impossible to catch anyone in tier 1. Okay. Can't even see you on my screen. Bro. Oh my god, please! I'm not even in a chase!
I'm chasing you.
Are you kidding? You're wait.
I chase you.
You're faster than me? What?
Yes!
What? Hello? No, wait. Again. 1, on the count of 3. When I say 3, you start running, okay? 1, 2, 3. Tell me when you, actually, catch up with me. Bro. I'm hugging walls as like...
Hello.
Bro, please.
Hello. Hello.
No! This build started popping in the fall of 2018 thanks to Monto. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was him who coined the term Burger King Myers in the first place. Quick note for those of you who started playing DBD yesterday. Monto was the biggest killer main YouTuber until several years ago he just stopped uploading. He was basically Adsdarva before Adsdarva was a thing.
Be one with the hatch. Be one with the hatch. One with the hatch. You're so close, but so far. I'm not even holding you. I'm stabbing you in the face. There, you can have the hatch right there. Get it. Have fun.
Just 3 days later, in patch 1.2.1e, the devs got rid of the lightning-fast tear-ups by removing Myers' ability to stalk multiple survivors at once. From now on, even though doing this still highlighted all survivors on the screen, only the closest one progressed evil within. As survivors were getting better at versing Myers, they found a little trick that made it possible for them to sort of counter his Instamori add-on. The telltale turned out to be his left hand, which normally, when it gets to tier 3, is a clenched fist. However, with Judy's Tombstone, the 9% speed penalty changes his posture a little and the fist magically turns into an open palm. And once this information started spreading in the community, Tombstone Myerses were done. Cause now as soon as survivors saw that flailing arm, they started jumping in lockers in order to force Myers to grab them instead of letting him insta-kill them right on the spot. Later, Myers mains found a workaround for this. Namely, they started bringing haste perks in order to compensate for the speed loss imposed by Judy's Tombstone, and as a result turned that dang open hand back into a fist. Alright, 99. So now tier up. Come on, tier up. Tier 3. Okay, walk around. Yeah, that's a hand. That's an open palm. Now let's give you Noed. Okay, 4%. Walk. Oh, that's still a palm, because 4% is not enough to like make up for the, you know, the speed loss. Now let's give you play with your food. Alright. Is it... Do you have the stack?
No. Oh, yes. I have.
And magic! Walk! Magic, bro! Pure magic, that's a fist! Sadly, it worked only for the first kill, because once the survivors saw that one of the icons on the HUD turned into a beautiful Mori skull, they instantly knew what you were up to and you were back to square one playing the locker simulator. After the devs fixed most glaring issues Myers had at the release, they forgot about him for a long 2 years. The only thing that happened to him during that period wasn't even directly related to him. I'm talking about the introduction of Bamboozle, which formed such a sexy synergy with the increased vaulting speed he has in tier 3 that to this day it remains arguably the most popular perk choice for this character. In the summer of 2018, Behavior finally decided to show Myers some love. Patch 2.1.0 increased his tier 1 movement speed from 4.14 to 4.2 meters per second, along with standardizing his carrying speed to be 3.68 meters per second across all tiers. About 3 months later, as part of the global quality of life update for killers, Behavior reduced the volume of Myers' footsteps, which sometimes used to give him away too early when he was walking around the map in tier 1. Patch 3.3.1 officially gave his tier 1 the undetectable status effect, but at the expense of making him vulnerable to premonition and spine chill. Patch 4.1.2 removed Myers' ability to stalk while in tier 3, which at first I couldn't even believe was a thing, cause in my head it literally sounded like you could prolong the duration of your power by sucking evil within off of survivors right in the middle of the chase. But I was wrong, and it turned out to be just a redundant ability that didn't do anything. I'm watching the meter very closely, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's doing it. Like, what the like, what was the point though? Like,
it's old. It's behavior for you.
I think it's placebo, so they just left the ability to stalk, but it doesn't do anything. In the fall of 2021, out of the blue, Behavior decided to buff Judy's Tombstone by removing the speed penalty from tier 1 and tier 2. And while casual goofballs saw this as a W, cause now they got to Mori survivors faster, the competitive gigachads knew that it was actually an L, because it meant no more Burger King Myers. To this day, the 19th of October 2021 remains the saddest date for all the OG Myers Myers mains. Rest in peace, Burger King Myers. You will be missed. 7 months later, in patch 5.7.0, the devs performed a technical rework of Myers' stalking ability. It mostly went unnoticed, and rightfully so, because it didn't really add anything new to his base kit, but it did change some of the values, and I'm assuming that this is when most of the undocumented changes that I found were introduced. The last two changes for Myers happened last year. First, in patch 6.6.0, the devs made it so that when you Mori survivors using Tombstone Piece or Judy's Tombstone, the game hides the HUD elements, allowing for a more cinematic experience. Second, patch 7.3.3 changed his Mori perspective from the first person to the third person, making it identical to what survivors see. And I do understand that these changes were purely cosmetic and they didn't affect anything, but I still think it's a nice touch and behavior should do the same to other killers too, because at least this way you're gonna be able to see your own model and the skin that you're wearing more than just during the intro animation. So far, Myers is in a pretty weird position. Generally, he's considered to be one of the weakest killers in the game, which is understandable, because he's literally the definition of AM1, and we all know how painful it can be to play such characters. But at the same time, he somehow remains one of the most popular killers in the game. I mean, just look at the amount of thirsty people calling him daddy and still asking for a shirtless skin for him after 6 years. Does he need a rework? Most definitely yes, because at this point he's just outdated. And not only in terms of his power, but just overall presentation. Just look at the textures on his default model. It's straight from 2016. Do you see that? Bro. Let's loop this, bro. It's like this, bro. It's the shortest loop ever, bro. Come on, let's chase. Can you walk between it? Can you walk?
Can't even walk past it.
Can you hit me through it? A little closer. Oh my god! Please, come on. You can. Okay. It's the shortest loop ever. It's like, think of it as a pre-dropped pallet, bro. It's like, you know how there's.
I can't break it.
Wait. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say, bro. You know how there's like breakable walls in the new version? That's an unbreakable wall. That's literally.
Literally unbreakable.
Yes. Can I drop it?
Oh my god, this is.
Oh my god,
I can destroy it.
And it's gone. What the f was that, bro?
It's fucking pieces.